3. Case studies of recent international conflicts. Sun Introduction. In the 21st century, international conflicts have evolved from traditional state-on-state warfare to complex hybrid confrontations involving state actors, non-state militias, and transnational networks. While the Cold War era was defined by ideological and nuclear standoffs, contemporary conflicts reflect a broader array of triggers, including nationalism, terrorism, competition over resources, failed states, and the reconfiguration of global power balances. This paper examines 3 significant case studies: the Russia-Ukraine War, 2022, 2. The Syrian Civil War, 2011, and 3. The Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh, 2020, 2023, to illustrate the shifting nature of modern international conflicts, analyze underlying causes, and explore global responses and ramifications. 2. Case Study 1. The Russia-Ukraine War, 2022. A. Background and origins. The roots of the Russia-Ukraine conflict stretch back to the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. Ukraine's gradual pivot toward Western institutions, most notably its pursuit of European Union, EU and NATO membership, was perceived by Russia as a strategic encroachment on its sphere of influence. Tensions escalated with the 2014 Maidan Revolution, Russia's annexation of Crimea, and the outbreak of conflict in eastern Ukraine, involving Russian-backed separatists. B. Invasion and escalation, 2022. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, marking the largest military conflict in Europe since World War II. Russian objectives, as articulated by President Vladimir Putin, included the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine, as well as the prevention of NATO expansion. Despite expectations of a quick Russian victory, Ukrainian resistance proved resilient, bolstered by significant military, financial, and diplomatic support from the West. The war soon settled into a protracted and brutal conflict, with high civilian casualties, massive displacement, and widespread destruction. C. International response. Sanctions. The West imposed sweeping economic sanctions on Russia, targeting its financial systems, energy exports, and elites. NATO. Although NATO did not intervene directly, member states provided billions in military aid, training, and intelligence support to Ukraine. Diplomacy. Multiple rounds of failed negotiations were attempted, with mediation efforts by Turkey and the UN making limited progress. D. Implications. Global energy crisis. Russia's weaponization of energy exports, particularly natural gas to Europe, triggered a global energy supply shock. Food security. Ukraine's inability to export grain during the war exacerbated food insecurity in the global south. Geopolitical realignment. The war reinforced NATO's cohesion, accelerated EU defense initiatives, and deepened Russia's alignment with China and Iran. 3. Case Study 2. The Syrian Civil War, 2011. A. Background and outbreak. The Syrian conflict began as part of the 2011 Arab Spring protests. What started as peaceful demonstrations against President Bashar al-Assad's authoritarian regime escalated into a full-blown civil war after the government's violent crackdowns. The conflict quickly took on a sectarian dimension, pitting the Alawite-dominated regime against a predominantly Sunni opposition, and morphed into a proxy war. B. Multifaceted conflict. State versus rebels. The Assad regime fought a variety of rebel groups, ranging from moderate Free Syrian Army FSA factions to radical Islamist groups like Jabhat al-Nusra and ISIS. International actors. Russia entered in 2015 to support Assad, altering the course of the war with massive airstrikes and diplomatic backing. Iran supplied Hezbollah fighters and Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC) support. United States initially backed moderate rebels, later focused on defeating ISIS through Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces (SDF). Turkey intervened to prevent the emergence of an autonomous Kurdish state near its border. C. Humanitarian impact. Over 500,000 deaths. More than 13 million Syrians displaced internally and externally. Widespread destruction of infrastructure, health systems, and heritage sites. Use of chemical weapons and indiscriminate bombing of civilian areas. D. Outcomes and current status. While Assad has regained control over most of Syria, the country remains fragmented. Northwest held by Turkish-backed rebels and extremist factions. Northeast controlled by Kurdish-led SDF with U.S. support. Southwest continues to see sporadic insurgency. Reconstruction efforts remain minimal due to sanctions and lack of international recognition of Assad's regime. 4. Case Study 3. The Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh. Historical context. Nagorno-Karabakh, a region internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan, but primarily populated by ethnic Armenians, has been a flashpoint since the Soviet Union's collapse. A war in the early 1990s led to Armenian forces occupying Nagorno-Karabakh and surrounding Azerbaijani territories. B. The 2020 war. On September 27, 2020, a new war broke out, lasting 44 days and resulting in an Azerbaijani military victory. With advanced drones from Turkey and Israel and strong military strategy, Azerbaijan recaptured significant territories. C. Russia's role and peacekeeping. A ceasefire brokered by Russia on November 10, 2020, saw the deployment of Russian peacekeepers to the region and Armenia's withdrawal from key areas. However, the underlying issues remained unresolved. D. Renewed hostilities in 2023. In September 2023, Azerbaijan launched a swift military operation, effectively dissolving the self-proclaimed Republic of Artsakh and prompting a mass exodus of ethnic Armenians from the region. The rapidity of the operation and Armenia's non-intervention raised concerns about the future of Armenian sovereignty and Russian reliability as a regional security guarantor. E. Implications. Shift in power. Azerbaijan's military and diplomatic success has shifted regional balances. Russian decline. Moscow's preoccupation with Ukraine and perceived inaction has weakened its influence in the South Caucasus. Western involvement. EU and U.S. have tried to mediate peace, but with limited leverage. 5 common themes and lessons. Geopolitical competition and power shifts. Each conflict reflects broader struggles over regional dominance and global influence. Russia's bid to reclaim imperial prestige, Iran and Turkey's proxy competition in Syria, and shifting allegiances in the South Caucasus. B. Erosion of international norms. From violations of sovereignty to chemical weapons use and displacement of civilians, these conflicts highlight the weakening of international law enforcement and the challenges faced by institutions like the UN in conflict resolution. C. Civilian suffering and displacement. All 3 conflicts have caused massive human suffering, underscoring the need for better humanitarian mechanisms, robust refugee support systems, and post-conflict reconstruction strategies. D. Technological warfare and asymmetry. New technologies, particularly drones, cyber warfare, and precision missiles, have transformed battlefield dynamics, allowing smaller or weaker actors to gain temporary advantages. 6. Conclusion. Recent international conflicts reveal a complex interplay of historical grievances, power politics, technological advancements, and normative breakdowns. Understanding these case studies is crucial for scholars, policymakers, and global citizens alike. Only through multilateral engagement, robust diplomacy, and a renewed commitment to international norms can future conflicts be prevented or mitigated. As the international system grapples with emerging challenges, climate crises, cyber threats, and great power competition, the imperative to learn from past and ongoing wars has never been more urgent.